On April 15, 2005, Ray Gricar, the district attorney of Center County, left his office in the county's brick and limestone courthouse and drove away in his red Mini Cooper. At 11:30 a.m., he told his fiancée, Patricia Fornicola, that he was traveling on Route 192. This was the last time anyone would hear from him. Today's video investigates the disappearance of prominent district attorney Ray Gricar. It's a case filled with mystery, conspiracy, and direct links to one of America's biggest scandals. Ray Frank Gricar, born on October 9, 1945, served as the district attorney of Center County, Pennsylvania, from 1985 to 2005. Born in Cleveland, Ohio, Gricar graduated from Case Western Reserve University School of Law with a Juris Doctor degree and began his tenure as a prosecutor for Cuyahoga County. He moved to State College, Pennsylvania around 1980 and was elected Center County District Attorney in 1985, following a brief tenure as an assistant district attorney. He was re-elected 4 times before announcing that he would not run for re-election in 2005. Ray was reportedly devoted to his family, had a witty sense of humor, and was a dedicated Cleveland Browns and Cleveland Indians fan. Ray had been divorced twice and had an adopted daughter named Lara from his first marriage. In April 2005, Gricar appeared to be his usual self. The only notable changes in his behavior were that he was sleeping more often than usual and had inquired about how to erase his laptop's hard drive. At the time, however, nobody viewed his IT questions as peculiar. Since Gricar, who had a reputation for being a consummate professional, was to retire, it made sense that he would remove any sensitive information related to the hundreds of cases he had worked on over the years from the county-issued laptop. On April 15, 2005, Gricar took a half-day off and went driving. He apparently enjoyed his long drives to unwind and clear his mind. Gricar began dating Patty Fornicola, an employee in his office, earlier in the year, and shared a Belafonte home with her. At 11:30 a.m., he called Patty to inform her that he was traveling toward Lewisburg on Route 192 and would not be home in time to feed their dog. This was the last time the couple would ever talk to each other. Patty returned home from work to find that Gricar hadn't been home. She headed for the gym under the assumption that he was still out driving. However, when he still hadn't arrived home that evening, Patty began to worry that something had happened to him. She filed a missing person report with the police at 11:30 p.m., approximately 12 hours after their last communication. Several witnesses reported seeing Gricar on the day he disappeared. He was seen seated in his red Mini Cooper in front of the Packwood House Museum. One witness reported seeing him pace back and forth before returning to his vehicle. He appeared to be waiting for someone, although this could not be confirmed. Others reported seeing a man matching his description in the company of an unidentified woman at an antique shop in Lewisburg on the same day. However, his family did not believe these were legitimate sightings of him. At 5:30 p.m. that day, Gricar was seen parking his car for the last time. Investigators discovered that Gricar had taken his laptop with him, which was out of the ordinary, but had left a case and power supply behind. His clothing, luggage, and possessions had not been removed from the home. The next day, his vehicle was discovered 45 miles from his residence in Belafonte, in a gravel parking lot across the street from an antique mall on the outskirts of Lewisburg, near the Susquehanna River. The vehicle was locked, and Ray's phone was inside and had been turned off. His laptop, keys, and wallet were all conspicuously absent. Shortly before his disappearance, law enforcement discovered that he had bought software to erase his computer's hard drive. Examining the search history on the computer he and Patty shared at home revealed queries such as, how to fry a hard drive, how to wreck a hard drive, and water damage to a notebook computer. Detectives also discovered that somebody, presumed to be Gricar, had visited MapQuest on his work computer earlier in the same week in search of directions from Belafonte to Louisburg. However, he had visited Louisburg many times and, in principle, should not have required directions. Police found traces of cigarette ash on the car's floor, and the interior smelled of cigarette smoke. This was odd because Ray did not smoke and reportedly detested the smell of tobacco. Police also noted that the behavior of a sniffer dog near where Gricar's car was discovered suggested that he may have gotten into another vehicle with someone. Authorities in Pennsylvania asked that the FBI examine Gricar's bank accounts, credit card records, and mobile phone records, but no signs of his whereabouts were discovered. On July 30th, fishermen discovered Gricar's county-issued laptop in the Susquehanna River beneath a bridge between Louisburg and Milton. However, its hard drive was missing. Divers searched the area of the river nearby where it was discovered for several days, but came up empty-handed. 2 months later, a hard drive was discovered on the banks of the Susquehanna River, about 100 yards from the laptop's location, and investigators hypothesized that it was from Gricar's laptop. However, the hard drive was severely damaged, and the FBI, the US Secret Service, and a data recovery firm could not recover any information from it. Ray's disappearance perplexed both investigators and family members. There were no indications of foul play, or that he wished to start a new life or was depressed. "My heart aches deeply, very deeply for your presence," said Gricar's daughter Lara at a news conference shortly after his disappearance. "Ray, I love you very much and I miss you. I want you to come home. Please call us. We will wait for as long as we need," pleaded Gricar's girlfriend, Patty. Ray Gricar's work as a district attorney has fueled a fire of numerous theories and conspiracy theories to explain his disappearance. One theory involves an international news-making scandal. According to those who knew Gricar, he was a cautious but tenacious prosecutor who did not shrink away from high-profile cases. His disappearance occurred shortly after he uncovered a major heroin trafficking organization, the largest narcotic seizure in the county at the time. His most renowned cases typically involved violence against women. In 1993, he attracted national attention when he used DNA, tire tracks, and gas receipts to link the murder of 17-year-old Dawn Marie Birnbaum to James Robert Cruz Jr., a cross-country trucker who was one of hundreds who passed through the county daily on the I-80. There may have been hundreds of criminals Gricar put away who had a grudge against the DA and wanted revenge. Bob Buhner, a former district attorney for Montour County and Gricar's friend, would be given a lead to one of these theories. In 2013, Buhner stated that a former Hells Angel ranking officer prisoner had written to him alleging that his cellmate had confessed to the murder of Gricar. According to the informant, the perpetrator was prosecuted and imprisoned by Gricar, and he sought retribution. Buhner has criticized the police for not thoroughly investigating the lead, even though evidence has ever been discovered to corroborate this narrative. But by far the most widely spread conspiracy theory was Gricar's connection to the Penn State child sex abuse scandal. The Penn State child sex abuse scandal involved allegations and convictions of child sexual abuse committed by Jerry Sandusky, assistant football coach for the Penn State Nittany Lions, over at least 15 years. The scandal surfaced in early November 2011 when Sandusky was indicted on 52 counts of child molestation originating from incidents between 1994 and 2009. On June 22, 2012, Sandusky was convicted of 45 counts of child sexual assault and sentenced to a minimum of 30 years and a maximum of 60 years in prison. Sandusky's crimes had come to light before 2011 and were on Gricar's radar. In 1998, two boys claimed that Sandusky cleaned them while in the shower. Gricar was the county's chief prosecutor when many other alleged unethical acts occurred. Gricar appeared to have decided not to prosecute based on the accounts of fellow investigators who took part during the first investigation. Gricar's decision not to file charges against Sandusky in 1998 led to rumors that his disappearance was related to the scandal engulfing the former Penn State coach. 2 days before Gricar closed the case, a psychologist determined that Sandusky had not sexually exploited a student, but was grooming him, and there wouldn't be enough evidence to convict Sandusky. One theory that doesn't seem to go away is that Gricar took his life just as his brother did in 1996. The police investigating the case believed this theory to be the most probable explanation, but his family disagreed. Gricar had no medical history of depression or signs that he wanted to end his life. According to reports, he was also looking forward to his approaching retirement. Buhner didn't believe he would have taken his own life, saying, "There was no way he was remotely suicidal at that time in 2005. He was getting ready to retire in a few months. He was planning trips across the country, was going to see his daughter in Seattle, Washington, and was going to visit national parks. He was going to enjoy himself after 35 years of being a prosecutor." So, what most likely happened to Gricar? Gricar was killed by someone he prosecuted or was prosecuting. During his nearly 35-year career as a prosecutor, Gricar was involved in hundreds, if not thousands, of cases. "People say you need to go back through all of his cases," said Sean Weaver, who oversaw the investigation from 2006. "But have you seen them all? No department has the resources to do that." Weaver said that the agency got multiple leads, suggesting that individuals that Gricar had convicted were implicated in the crime. He stated that most exchanges resulted in prisoners requesting lower sentences or help with parole boards in exchange for the information. One of the earliest inquiries into the retaliation theory centered on Taji Verbal Lee. A few weeks before his disappearance, Gricar accompanied then Attorney General Tom Corbett to declare the closure of what Corbett termed the largest heroin operation we have ever seen in Center County. Lee is serving 30 to 60 years in maximum security prison for trying to distribute heroin and cocaine worth $1.5 million. Multiple media reports connected Gricar's disappearance to former Assistant U.S. Attorney Jonathan Luna, a narcotics investigator whose body was discovered in a Lancaster County canal in December 2003. His case remains unsolved. Additionally, there was a victim of domestic violence whose ex had issued a few vague threats years prior, but the Alaskan police corroborated that his alibi appeared to be credible. A prison tip that Gricar was abducted, murdered, and disposed of in retaliation for a case he prosecuted against a member of the Hells Angels motorcycle club was the most compelling lead for Gricar's friend, Buhner, who had criticized the way the Gricar investigation has been handled. According to the source, Gricar was murdered by a former Hells Angel seeking revenge against the district attorney for successfully securing a lengthy prison sentence for him in the 1990s for aggravated assault. This perpetrator was also an FBI informant. According to a statement read by the judge at the sentencing hearing, the former Hells Angel reported unlawful activities by the motorcycle gang to the FBI. According to the source, he decided to come forward with information about Gricar's murder to clear his name, and because he believed the former FBI informant and Hells Angel to blame was dead. Upon learning that the Hells Angel is alive and living in another state, he recanted his statement until he was granted immunity. He stated that the shaft where Gricar was buried contains the bodies of 4 others and guns, and he doesn't want it opened, as it would incriminate himself or others. According to the source, Gricar's body was buried there after his kneecaps were spun and his throat was slashed. Although Taji Lee's complicity in a revenge killing cannot be discounted, it would have been more probable that this organized crime ring would have killed witnesses rather than prosecutors. The rogue Hell's Angel theory is more probable in the disappearance and possible murder of Gricar. What do you think happened to Ray Gricar? Leave us your thoughts in the comments section. If you love our content and want to support the channel, feel free to check our web shop where you can find exclusive true crime merch brought to you by Bad Things.